Hey everybody, welcome back to Battle Ready Inc. So today we're going to be rating all of the meta decks for BT16. It is that time for a massive shift in the entire game and everything we know. BT16 is going to be a format changer for sure. I think a lot of us know that. But I guess the biggest question is, where do all the old decks fall in comparison to these new powerhouses that we're getting in BT16? That's what we're going to take a look at today. Also, if you guys could jump over to my Twitch page and give us a quick follow right quick. I'm just trying to get to 50 followers, and these views get, well over 1,000. So I just need 10 of you to come over there and follow. I've been playing games like Diablo 2, Borderlands 2, even been playing some Overcooked with my wife. If you want to see some true rage, check us out playing Overcooked, because that game will get you. All right, so this is where we fell for our BT15 tier list in review. So this wasn't our prediction. This is after, we had a lot of tournaments, and I feel like this was pretty much spot on. Greymon was everywhere. Red Hybrid was everywhere early on, but then it shifted over into Mirage, being kind of replacing Red Hybrid. It would just go back and forth on those a lot. Purple, Fenrir, we had a lot of Davas in there, a lot of Levia, and then even some Magnamon starting to creep up and having a little bit of splash value there. But I think we were pretty spot on here. There was a good amount of Setcon, although I don't know if Setcon, it performed okay, but not as well as these other guys. It was played a lot though. But I think we were pretty much spot on with our top picks here, and everything else fell in line pretty much about where we expected. Maybe a little bit higher on some of these than they should have been, but I feel like we really nailed it. So I have a high hopes for where we will fall for today's video. All right, so we'll go ahead and rock through this. This tier list was made by Juan Morin here, Jed there. So thank you for him. I feel like, because I checked out a few of these, and I felt like this was pretty encompassing. I couldn't think of anything that was missing, so it felt really good. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and do this in order as they appear. First up, we got All Force. I think All Force isn't fun now. It's so piece reliant, right? Mirage does similar things, but without as much needed. And Mirage, is a little bit more powerful. It's got, really powerful control elements like bouncing a lot. And Mirage is basically just All Force, but better, I feel like. So yeah, we'll put it up here in fun tier. Black War not in a great position. It still gets decent. It gets top 64s a lot. I think we had maybe one top 16 in the last one. But it basically can't handle a lot of these decks that have been doing well. That said, it does have a pretty, depending on your build, can have a strong matchup into, you know what? So I'm going to actually move it into 1.5 just because of the meta decks being played. I think I always get sucked into this. I always get sucked into the Greymon hype, and I want it to do well, but I expect it actually to do well into the meta. So against the Magnamons, the 15Ks, if you build your stack right and you have that all turns 1K buff, and you have the DP prevention on your the minus on the DP, then yeah, it should do really well into those. And if you build it with Raid in the deck, then you can get over that 15K body that they have, right? Yeah, and then he unsuspends during the opponent's turn at the beginning of the opponent's turn, so that means that it won't have that protection effect anymore. So I do think Black War actually may be a good pick. I literally didn't think about that until right now. So you get it off the cuff. Red Hybrid. Oh no. I know this is crazy. Red Hybrid is doing so well, right? But going into next format, I don't think so. Rapid X just murders Red Hybrid, right? All their rookies, they can't, as soon as they suspend a rookie, it dies, right? So they can't get any damage through with rookies with Rapid X in play, and then even their level 4s are going to suffer pretty severely. So I don't think Red Hybrid is going to hang, because yeah, 2 of the 3 meta decks that we're going to get to murder Red Hybrid bad. War Greymon, I'll go ahead and put War Greymon in here as well in 1.5. The issue is you're not going to get any of your piercing here. So this is a really aggressive deck, right? And it's got the Raid, which is really important. So Raid is going to be really powerful when getting past your Magnamons. So it's kind of up in the air, right? It's going to have really powerful DP as well, so DP minus on it, not going to affect it too much when you're rolling up with 17k and swinging in against a Rapidmon, a Rapid X. Like, they don't really care that much. It's when the two decks are combined together, Magna and Rapid X, and they have both Megas out on field. War Greymon might suffer then, so you're gonna have to really build for some good DP boosting if you're gonna go that DP boosting on your own turn, right? And then its end of attack stuff not really going to help you as much. It will in the rapid matchup, but not in the Magna. Oh man, Chaosmon. We'll have to throw it down here into fun. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be in a great position, right? Because all of its, destroy opponents' Digimon in battle, trash their security, right? Everything's going to have armor perks. You're not going to get good value there. Defensively, unless you're really, really stacked, it's not going to be enough to like deal with these Magnamons and things like that. So, yeah, and if you can't even use your redirects off your analog mans, right? Because if they hit the Magnamon with the blinding ray, then it's unaffected. Then yeah, you can't even redirect. You can still block, but you can't redirect. All right. Next we got Hunters. Hunters is not doing well either. I think it's gonna be down here in the fun. I almost want to put it in meh, but we'll leave it in fun here. Aristomon Superior Mode is really good against armors, right? Because it just sources them underneath their tamers, and that's really good because it completely bypasses the armor purge. The only thing you're, of course, again, is going to be against Superior, or not Superior Mode, against Magnamon. Magnamon X being unaffected, because usually they're either going to Blinding Ray on their own turn, or they're going to attack and get a security check and get that, that immunity, so then you can't Superior Mode them underneath their tamers. But if you can like set up a blocker so that way they don't get any security checks and they don't get their immunity, then you could maybe Superior Mode them. So just some food for thought on that, but I don't think it's going to be enough. It'll be okay against the Rapid X though. Next we got Beelzemon, and I think we're gonna throw it somewhere here. It's got some good aggression. It's got a lot of like bombs that it can use. The issue is a lot of its bombs don't do anything against armors all that much, because they're just going to armor purge and then go right back into what they already had. So it's gonna, I don't know. Yeah, we'll leave it in tier 2. Mirage, we'll throw Mirage up here in high 1.5. The issue of Mirage, it doesn't have any DP boost, right? It's just jamming and then pray, right? So if they're always at 15k on their Magnamons, then what do? 15 or sometimes even 18k, because right, they're gonna swing on you and get their 3k, and then you're gonna swing on them and give them another 3k. Then they're at 18k. Then you lose out on all your other security checks. So yeah, I don't know what you're gonna have to do about that. Against the Magnamon matchup, it's gonna be rough because you're not gonna be able to outpace. Mirage takes too many pieces, and Magnamon basically takes nothing, right? A rookie, any of its level 4s, and then it just needs to see one of its level 6s, and then boom, like they're done, right? That's all they have to do, and then boom, they're already better than you. So yeah, against everything else, Mirage, yeah, still going to be doing great. Absolutely expected. Kentarosmon, I'm going to throw that in meh. Like, it's neat. You can recover what you want to recover, but I don't think any of that recovery is going to do enough. Rosemon, I throw Rosemon down here in fun. Rosemon is fun. She's kind of like a worse Mirage. She feels kind of similar to Ulforce, right? Got a little bit of control, not enough. She needs piercing. I don't know why the deck, like, they didn't get piercing on anything, at least any of the original stuff. They might have in the X, but that's not for burst mode, right? The Rosemon X build, it's not a burst mode build. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer. Belphamon, it does all right every once in a while. It's really difficult to out, but I don't think it's going to be able to contend with the Magnamon, and it can't contend with any of the 1.5 stuff. So it's probably somewhere about tier 2. Rise Greymon, we'll throw Rise Greymon up here in 1.5. Sorry, my eye itches like crazy. It does solid, right? It had plenty of tops, right? It's just one of those decks that kind of just floats around, and when it pops off, and you're like, well, what do I do, right? Again, though, can't stand up to Magna. I don't know what else to tell you. Can't stand up to Magna. All right. Put in some Royal Knights up here. I feel like Royal Knights and Rise Greymon, or Shine Greymon, they're pretty much on par with each other. We see them top. They don't get a ton of tops, but they get a couple here and there. So like against all these other 1.5 decks, they fall somewhere about right here, a little on the lower side. The only reason I'm putting the Greymon so much higher is because I think they have a good matchup against those tier 1 decks that we're going to talk about. But then these guys don't, right? But then Mirage is better than all these guys, and then these guys aren't quite. They're better than all this other stuff, so that's why they're gonna fall there. Setcon, I think Setcon's gonna fall pretty hard. I don't know, somewhere in tier 2, but I don't even know where in tier 2. Like, I feel like it's better than all these. Well, maybe not even Red Hybrid. Red Hybrid's probably still better than it, but like, yeah, it's just Setcon doesn't do enough. I mean, you can Chaos Dag. Chaos Dag is great. Lone Key is pretty solid as well against armors. But if they're just unaffected, then you can't do anything, right? They're just going to roll all over you because they're unaffected by all your options all the time. Magna will be the duo deck between the Rapid and the Magnamon. Like, they're going to be fine. I feel like Setcon will have a good matchup against Rapid X. I feel like that's a pretty fair assessment. So, I don't know. Time will tell where Setcon's going to fall. Nume's still going to be solid, right? So, because everything floats, right? They can set up blockers if they need to, and their blockers, they can just float right back into more stuff, keep playing out stuff, and just kind of preventing the armor decks, because the armor decks don't put out a lot of damage, right? They're consistent damage every round. They're consistent defense every round, and they're hard to out, right? That's what makes these armor decks so good. Numemon is very similar in a way, except for it has to like replay out its bodies, and then the new bodies have summoning sickness and all that stuff. But they can also put up a lot of pops, that sort of thing. I don't know. I feel like Nume's still going to be solid. Like, it's not going to be as good as these tier 1 decks, but I feel like it's probably the best, right up there next to Mirage. I feel like it's got a better chance than Mirage does, because once Magna gets set up, Mirage is really going to try to suffer. But I feel like Nume could kind of go toe-to-toe still with the armors. Next we've got D-Brigade here. D-Brigade got a top at one of the regionals, and I did a video of it. I covered it because I was so excited for it. So I guess we'll put it a little bit higher than there. Yeah, I mean, it's just a solid deck. It's got a lot of floaters. It might be pretty good. Well, sort of, right? Because against the Magna, if they're running the old Magna X, the old Magna X kind of chews these guys up, right? Because you attack with all these little bodies. But against the new Magnamon, pretty good. Against Rapidmon, not really good. Because all your little bodies, they're just going to die as soon as the Rapid hits the field. So yeah, unfortunately, way down here. Lugomon, we can throw Lugomon up here with these guys. It's still flooding the field, putting out a bunch of bodies. You can go Alliance, and I think Alliance will be really good against these armor decks, because you can go big enough that they don't want to block you, right? That's going to be the big thing, and especially with Finral being able to attack multiple times with its big, 17, 18k swings. Magnamon's, as soon as it blocks once, right, then they can just attack over the Magnamon that's underneath it, and then you just have a Vmon there that's gonna get run over by like a Black Gato Mono Rush, right, and then your whole board has been cleared. So I feel like Finral is a great matchup against these tier 1 decks. Honestly, I think I'm gonna, now that I'm really thinking about it more, I think I want to move Finral up, because I think it does have a fantastic matchup because of the Alliance. The Alliance is what really like brings it up, because you're going to need a lot of DP and things like that in multiple attacks. And that's one of the things that like the Greymon decks can't do. Yeah, they can get big stacks and swing once, sometimes twice, but then that's it, right? You only get one swing out of it, and your piercing doesn't matter because they have armor. So Finral, a little bit better. All right, Levia X. We'll throw Levia X. It's a little bit better than these other guys on the lower end. It gets a little bit more tops. We're not seeing it as much. I think it's starting to fall off in popularity. It's going to fall off even more come the next set because no one's really running a lot to counter these guys. But I feel like the wrong meta can really just change these guys up. Being able to play Digimon by effect, as soon as people start running, you know, stuff that counters that, then Leviamon's out again. But it's doing all right, so we'll put it in low 1.5. I'm gonna put Garuru down here. It's just, it's missing so much stuff, right? We see it a little bit here and there, but I feel like sometimes it's just a shot in the dark on how well it does. Kind of like that Gallantmon, right? Gallantmon, what, it topped the European, was it European Nationals that it topped? Or maybe it just was a regional right afterwards. But yeah, Gallantmon it took an event. It got first place in an event. Blew my mind. And then never did anything ever again. So, like, is the deck good? Who knows? It did really well in one event. Like, extremely well. So yeah, that's kind of where I feel for Garurumon here. We've got Valkyremon Ace. I'm a little confused on what they're going to represent with this. It's a cool card. We've been talking about it on the channel, so I'm going to say for mine, I like this as the Lord Knight variant, where, you know, the Lord Knights can spit out your Valkyremon Aces for free because it's a warrior type, and yeah, Lord Knight's just a really powerful card if it's spitting out megas for free, right? So if every time Lord Knight attacks, it's throwing out another mega, that's really, really strong, especially if it's not once per turn and it's attacking multiple times. It's multiple Valkyremon Aces in play here. So where do we want to put this? We'll put it low tier 2. Well, to be determined on this, on where this is going to fall here. What is this? Is this the 4 Great Dragons? Like the God Dragons or whatever? Yeah, I feel like that's pretty meh. Takes too much. Like, you have to get those guys in rotation and your dragon option card in rotation, and you have to have kind of need like a Venusmon in play as well. There's so much. We got this is the Biomon deck. It's like a Biomon Rush sort of deck here. It's got Fortitude, kind of like Leomon, so that's pretty awesome. Can do some really cool stuff there. It does have Fortitude, right? I'm not crazy on that. Vikemon. Who's Vikemon representing? Is he representing the new Chaos deck? Oh, where do we put Vikemon here? In the Dark Masters, the Apocalypse. It runs all the the Blast Evo counters and stuff like that. I feel like that deck's pretty good, right? Like, I feel like it hasn't done anything currently, but it's gonna get more support. I'll throw it down here. They could just be literally talking about the Vikemon, the new blue deck. I'm not really sure. Imperial German, I am super excited for. I don't know if it's tier 1. I'm going to put it in tier 1 because that's the only deck I'm ever going to play again. I played a lot of Imperial. So once it started dying to options, like in all these other decks that were running a lot of option stuff, I had to give it up. But now that we have Partition, like, I feel like the deck's going to be in a really good position. It can get out a lot of swings, being undestroyable by battle, you know, trashing sources, that sort of thing. I'm probably being too generous putting it in tier 1. I'm going to move it down to 1.5. When we get Paladin mode, I think it's going to be insane when we get Paladin mode. But I don't know how well it's going to play into armors, particularly against, again, Magna. Like, it's a blocker that you can't get any cheeky swings in. If you can't affect it, then, like, you can't strip sources, you can't stun it. And this deck does a lot of that really, really efficiently, right? You can do a whole lot in one turn, but it's kind of sad you can do all these things in one turn and you can't get past a single Magnamon X. Like, that sucks. But its top end is also really powerful. So I feel like it's got a really good contender when it's being defensive against Magnamon X. And so as soon as that turn where Magnamon X, fumbles, the next turn it just goes ham, right? So yeah. Next we got Tyrant. I feel like Tyrant's gonna be pretty good. How good? Undetermined. It can, you know, put out free bodies, you know, kind of like the Lord Nightmon deck, but like I feel like it's more efficient. It's got better choices. Its top end is really, really strong. The Tyrant is really strong. I feel like we'll probably see a good amount of it represented. I know a lot of green players are really excited for it. Green being really unrepresented in the meta for a while now. I know a lot of green players are just kind of, you know, chomping at the bit to play green again. So yeah, well, I expect to see a lot of Tyrant here. All right, next we've got the new Gargomon deck. I'm gonna throw it down here in a fun. It's okay. I don't think it's gonna be able to counter these other guys. Forcing their stuff to block is really cool, and you know it's got, you know, piercing and things like that. Like literally, its tamer is the reason it's like even somewhat realistic to play, because it's gonna, you know, have piercing and force stuff to block. But again, if it's Magnamon, then they're like, okay, I block Armor Purge, and I still have more Armor Purge. Like, it's just not going to be able to. I don't think it can contend with those other decks. This is the new Chaosmon deck, right? So this is Brigade, but they've got the new Chaosmon. I think I said Chaosmon, but the new Chaosmon DNA that it can use. I'm just going to throw it down here in fun. It's just, it takes so much memory, it takes so much setup, and it takes so many pieces, and the payoff is just kind of average. I don't even know what deck you're supposed to put this guy in. He just feels like it's like a Pulsemon deck that's just not doing anything. I'm just going to throw it down there. All right, now we got into the big stuff here. We'll do the Magnamon first. Magnamon, obviously, we've been talking about it a ton. Tier 1, like, no contest. Tons of people are calling for this card to get limited to 1 already because it's really strong, being unaffected by everything your opponent does. Like, when a card gets removed from security, yours or your opponent's, either turn, doesn't matter. It is once per turn, thank God. It unsuspends. It's a blocker. It's Armor Purge. It's unaffected by everything. Tamer effects, option cards, Digimon effects, security effects, everything, right? All your opponent's effects. It's just unaffected. And it's a 15k body most of the time, right? What do you do against that? It's like you need giant bodies to get past it, right? And even then, it can decide to still block you, and it just Armor Purges, and then next turn they just Evo right back into another one, and you basically got nowhere. So yeah. This is going to be a beast of a card, beast of a deck. Next, we got the Rapidmon X here. And so this is a little bit different. It is another armor deck, so outing it is very difficult. Both of these guys do have option cards that prevent DP minus. So, you know, you can't even, like, Setcon not going to do a ton if they're in the wrong situation. Like, if they have Loki and it's the DP minus, then you can't DP minus them. That's going to feel bad. Yeah, so Armor Purge is really crazy. Rapid X is going to, like, just power check, meta check, whatever you want to call it, a ton of these decks. Like the Nume deck that's all super low DP is going to struggle against a Rapidmon X, right? Because every time they suspend, boom, lose, what is it, 4 or 5k? And yeah, 4k, and then if they have 2, then it's minus 8k. That's pretty much the whole deck dead. It doesn't matter if you're floating or not. Like, the second you suspend again, you're just dead. So they literally don't even have to worry about ever suspending their Rapid X. They just leave it in play and then let all their other, like, Digimon that they're going to make later on do all the work for them. So all the little decks, so the Red Hybrid we talked about, all that stuff, the D-Brigade, all these, like, super wide, you know, low to the ground decks, just decimated by Rapid X, right? And then even still against other decks, it's going to be really, really solid. It's still doing a whole lot of other stuff. It can turbo into this on turn 2 for like 1 memory, right? If they're playing the vaccine build. Speaking of which, we'll go ahead and throw this up here. I'm going to put it a little bit higher. I don't know if it's number 1 or number 2. That's up in the air, right? The benefits of the vaccine armor deck is that it's got all that stuff at its disposal, like the Patamon that evos for free out of security, right? And then you can set your security up with cards like TK. And then, yeah, you Evo for free into your Rapidmon, your level 4 Rapidmons, because they're vaccine types. And then you can use like the one cost option, right? The whatever it is that, again, Evos for free out of security. And again, if they have a Rapid X, because you saw like they could see what's in it when they went into the Rapidmon, so they know if they have one or not, so then they can just do it again. Messenger of Hope, that's the card, and then they can go straight up into Rapid X. Like, literally, that's all it takes. Just go first, Evo a Patamon in raising area. Literally, they could pass and promote up said Patamon, Evo for free into Rapid, and then Messenger of Hope into a Rapid X. Done. How crazy, right? And then, yeah, they get even additional setup with the TK that they can do to help guarantee it even more. Crazy, crazy good. Again, that's more specific with the getting into the Rapid. The Magna X is a little bit more difficult because you have to specifically have the option card, Awakening of the Golden Knight, to then Evo him there. But yeah, still crazy efficient. Crazy efficient. To get up into your megas in this deck. That's why I'm like, it might be better than our other ones. We'll just have to wait and see. But these three are going to be the gatekeepers of tournaments. You know, you always see those pie charts that Eggman posts, and it's going to be 1, 2, 3. That's it. It's going to be so brutal. Next, we got Blue Hybrid here. Blue Hybrid's just not really doing much. I'll throw it down here in a meh. Just, again, hybrid decks in general are going to be suffering, and it's no different. Wow, man, this is so crazy. Alphamon still manages to put in work even to this day. I don't really have much to say about it. I'm just like, it's still just like I don't even know if it's the same person or not, but they just show up and they're like, I'm just going to win this tournament. I'm just going to win this regional with Alphamon using just a bunch of old cards. I'm like, wow. Crazy. I don't know how they manage it. I really should go back and watch like the VOD and stuff and see how they played this, because that sounds crazy. But yeah, I don't have much to say. It's a big body, so big bodies are going to be doing pretty well against this. It's going to have, you can have access to Alliance and Piercing and all that fun stuff. Yeah. Blue Flare, big stun to wide stuff, and I don't expect a wide stuff to get played a lot. So there's just not anything that's going to be good against, right? There's like Nume, right? It's got a decent matchup against Nume, Royal Knights. That's kind of it, right? I guess we'll throw it like way down here. That feels okay. Sakuyamon. Let's throw Sakuyamon. I mean, she's fun, right? I guess we can put her in fun. Yeah, you can compare it to the arena issue. It takes so much. You have to have your arenas, right? Your 4 of arenas, because they won't reprint us more good ones at least, right? And then you need your all your plugins, all your pieces, and your searchers are just kind of mediocre, and even the payoff isn't amazing, because again, there's no way they could get past a Rapid X. Like, they just lose in that matchup. Or not a Rapid X, against a Magna X. Like, a lot of these decks, they just hard lose against. There's just no way. Venusmon here. What is Venusmon representing? If she's not... Oh, I bet the Magna... Alright, we'll swap Venus out for the Magna, because that was probably SetCon, and then we'll do Vaccine Angels for this one. I guess is what we're going to do. Vaccine Angels. Where does Vaccine Angels fall? Like, I want to put it in 1.5 somewhere, like, with these guys, because it kind of feels about where it falls in with these three. Like, you see it a little bit, but not a ton. Bloomlord. I can't put Bloomlord that high. Bloomlord just hasn't shown up hardly. And again, it's got that wide... Yeah, it just loses the Rapid X. Like, just hardcore, just murdered by Rapid X. I guess we'll put it somewhere here. What is this? Dark Nightmon? Throw Dark Nightmon down here. Meh, haven't seen that do anything. Jessmon. Jessmon's... We'll put it somewhere here in fun. I feel like I'll put it right below Superior Mode, or Reshiramon Superior Mode, because Superior Mode has actually a weird, decent matchup against these guys. But Jessmon, it can get big. It's not going to get any of its checks through ever. And it has no backup plan. for if it can't get its checks through. So yeah, unfortunately, and it has no like good outs, right? The War Greymons are doing something similar, right? But one, he's, you know, we're getting multiple attacks here. You can maybe get multiple attacks out of this Chaosmon, and you're getting pops like with the end of attack pops. All right, Gallantmon. I kind of talked about it earlier. We're just going to throw it here in the tier 2 for now. It's going to get so much support here soon, but not yet, right? Come BT17, Gallantmon will be much higher, I feel like. Definitely going to be riding in the top brackets, but currently it's just not really doing much. It had that one crazy good top in Europe, and then that was kind of it. It can get big. The trashes aren't going to be super big in this format, I don't think, for it. So it's like it doesn't have any good matchups here. Yeah, it's just kind of awkward, right? I don't even want to put it that high. It had one good top, but that was it. I put it somewhere like that. All right. Oh, this is so weird. I thought the Vikemon was maybe going to represent this deck, but I'm just going to put these two guys together because I feel like they're kind of in this, they're doing the same stuff. They're running a lot of the same engines, depending on which Vikemon this is supposed to represent the blue deck or not. But then this is like Mega Zoo, right? So this is your, Alter B or Alter S, whichever one this is. And it's that new Mega Zoo deck with the Dark Masters and things like that. The new Omnimon deck did crazy stuff to the secondary market. All right, next up. Okay, so this is Metal Edelmon. The Shin Monzaemon threw me off. I was like, I don't know any Monzaemon or Numemon card like this. Okay, that's because I couldn't see it very well here, but it is Metal Edelmon. And yeah, we're just going to throw Metal Edelmon down here. It's just not doing anything at all. It hasn't in a long time. I don't know really technically if ever. It is a fan favorite though. You know what? We'll be generous. We'll throw up here in fun. Because it is a fan favorite. People like to see it. Leomon here. Leomon, I feel like is a really solid deck. We don't see it do a ton, which I'm really surprised about. The Fortitude is really powerful. It's just the Megas can really put in a lot of work. But yeah, we just don't really see it do a ton. I put it up here in tier 2, I guess. I would love to put it in 1.5, but there's just nothing to back it up. Grace Nova here. I'm going to throw it in tier 2. You know, it's got that crazy limit on a lot of its cards to be able to do certain combinations, so that's not really helping it out at all. It can do some neat things. It can go really crazy stacks of all kinds of effects, but it takes a lot. It takes a lot of pieces, and you know, it's got a lot of search power and draw power, that sort of stuff, but you still have to see a lot of stuff and any kind of crazy interactions, and you're just going to be doomed. So yeah, we'll throw it here. Next, we've got Devas here. Devas doing quite well for themselves. Also, we'll put it up here. The Fanglong being able to just like DP minus is really good. Assuming, you know, a certain someone isn't unaffected by it. The issue is also like their Devas are going to be in an awkward spot against like Imperial decks. Like Imperial kind of eats Devas for lunch because it's all that stuff of outsources, and you're just like, oh, I'm just going to bounce you to hand or bottom deck you or, you know, whatever, stun you. So yeah, it's got a rough matchup there, but against everything else, it's pretty decent. You know, it's been solid against all these other decks. It's got a lot of blast evos, and that helps it out as well in going against these armor guys. If they ever want to try to get any kind of cheeky like lower swings in, like level 4s and stuff like that, you know, all those blast evos is going to put in a lot of work, just being able to pop them or bounce them to hand, you know, anything like that. So they're forced to get up into their megas, and they get no early swings at all against Deva decks. But once those armor decks get established, then they're going to struggle, right? Against Devas will struggle then against the armor decks because they can't really deal with their megas efficiently at all. So yeah, we're at we'll throw it down here. You know, it's decent against a lot of other decks, but kind of like this low end. The low end of 1.5 feels like decks that are just solid, and they're really solid against most everything except these guys. And then the higher end of 1.5, they're also solid against everything, but they have a decent chance against these guys. And these guys in the mirror match is just going to be awful. It's going to be the worst experience of your life. I hope you're ready because we're going to see a ton of it. All right, and the last one, we got Mega Gargomon here representing bunnies. Where do we put bunnies at? Mega Gargomon itself is a really powerful card. It's got access to the Rapidmon stuff. So you could almost say, I feel like I want to say it's the same as that deck, right? Because they're like the same deck, right? I don't feel like you're running anything in here that you're not running in here. Maybe more Gargomon stuff, but realistically, he's just an include in this deck now. So it's kind of where that falls. So he's just kind of hanging out here next to Rapidmon X, as Rapidmon X basically carries him to victory. And that's going to do it. How long? Wait, this wasn't super long. We've definitely had much worse than this. This is where we're going to end it here, though. That is it. If I missed anything and you're curious of where it would fall, put it in the comment section below. I'll definitely try to get to you guys as soon as I can with what I think, my thoughts on whatever deck it was that I missed. If you have any questions, any further questions about why I might have put something where I did, let me know. If you have a deck that you think maybe deserves to be higher or lower, give me a valid reason in the comment section. I'd love to know why, and sway my opinion if you can, because, you know, if you have really good found reasons, I'm totally here for, you know, accepting and learning new things. But with that, I'll see you guys in the next video.